What's up, Soul Warriors? It is me, LC. I am the founder of Hope and Recovery Network and your host for the Recovery Soul Food podcast and Patreon page. I am here, honored to be here, celebrating my 7 years in recovery. Two of the most amazing ladies on earth. Most of you know Bradley Bagwell. Bradley Bagwell with the short hair, with the good hair, looking all nice and trying to warn me about
I
your
got it for
hair.
your celebration.
Well, thank you. And we are here with Jen as well. Jen is just a new friend to me, but an amazing one nonetheless. And so, if you guys are showing up, I appreciate it. Bradley will and Jen will not be able to see your comments because I'm recording the show. And but if you could, please give this a share out as we're kind of limited on what we can do. As you all know, Facebook gave me a serious sentence of till May the 9th to be locked up. So isn't it terrible? So if you guys don't mind, please get this shared out. This is a message of love, light, unity. It's what we always bring. And you guys already know Bradley. You know what's up with Bradley Bagwell. Amazing, badass lady she is. So let me do just a little bit of business. If you don't mind, introduce us to Jen a little bit. Introduce folks to Jen, and and tell us a little bit about Jen. And while I'm doing the work here.
Okay, so I'm Bradley Bagwell. I'm the creator of the Recovery Crawl. And this is my very good friend, Jen. And she's also in recovery. And that's kind of how we got to know each other. And I'm actually kind of just threw her into this live with me tonight. So she wasn't prepared for this. I just said, hey, you ought to do it with us. And here she is. And so thank you for being a good sport, Jen.
Absolutely. I'm very glad to be here and glad to do a shout out to those of you who are joining us tonight. Anything that I can do to help the sobriety community, I like to be right in the middle of it, as my sponsor told me whenever I first came in, always be in the middle of everything. So, the other day, whenever Bradley said, why don't you do this? I don't even think I hesitated. I just said yes. And the thing about Bradley, the short term that I've known her, it seems as though it's just her light in the things that she's been involved with and what she brings to the table. What I have seen has just gone up exponentially. So I'm very excited to be able to be a part of this. And if there's anything that I can do to contribute again to the sober community, that's what my purpose is. So very glad to be here, everyone. Thank you very much.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Bradley's light kind of goes in front of her. And that's one of the things that really, I think, drew us together, because my whole purpose in life and coming into recovery and doing all this was to allow people to see through me a light and a purpose and just that transparency. And that's what I love about Bradley as well. And I think that's why we tend to click and jive so well, because what we have gotten through this is confidence in the ability to be able to talk about something that we share, which is recovery, which is doing live videos, which is we times, I mean, she's a big, shows up huge for the ladies, and that's just a beautiful thing to me to see so many strong ladies coming out in the recovery community and making themselves seen and known, because I believe that in so many areas that women suffer far more in recovery sometimes than they need to, for lack of resources, for lack of examples to see. And I thank both of you for being an example to our women, because they need to know recovery is real. It is absolutely doable, accomplishable, and you don't have to stay in a situation that's harmful for you. And so I love you guys. This is going to be just a love fest. You know how we do. It's
Absolutely.
a love fest.
And that's part of, that's helping me grow, is that I had to let some parts of my story out that I didn't ever want the world to know. But by doing that, other people, you know, are messaging me saying, me too. And that happened to me, you know, stuff that I really did feel so alone in. Now, then I knew I wasn't alone. So then they're doing that for other, so it's not me. It's like this whole
Yep.
unity thing going on, and it's amazing.
Yes, it's the soul that matters, right? It's the soul of a person that matters. And I think that, you know, we all bleed the same, and our bodies work the same in so many ways. And so the process of healing, while it's going to be very unique to each individual, it's a beautiful process. I think about on this, you know, all day today, as I've been, you know, thinking and reflecting on these 7 years, I sat down and I wrote some thoughts about year 1 and year 2 and year 3, and knowing that even though the details are unique, we're all climbing that same mountain, and to look over and be able to see somebody on your climb with you, you know, that doesn't maybe slip on the same rock that you do, but maybe in the same place on the mountain that you do. It's such a strengthening thing to me to see somebody say, me too. And sometimes I think that I don't know if it's motherhood. I don't know what it is that we expect sometimes women to be either stronger or quieter or whatever it is. But, you know, sometimes our women can be vilified when they step out, or vilified, especially if they have children and they don't, you know, there's so much fear, and recovery for a woman is a lot different, you know, especially when there's children involved. If you ever notice, children of addicted mothers, there's a lot more anger thrust at the
Oh,
mother
yeah,
sometimes
absolutely.
than there is the father, and you know that well. You know
Mhm.
that well.
That's absolutely true, and that's when things tend to topple, and things really get bad, because you have no clue where to turn. Feel like you're the only one. Then you're getting all of a sudden the angry and the judgment and everything else coming from that. Because that definitely happened to me. So what did I do? I just keep digging. We dig some more.
Yep.
I just
Yep.
keep digging, and I didn't have the resources that I want other women to have when they're in that place, because they don't know. That nobody knows. When you're in it, you have no idea. But you know, blessed that God sat me down, and that everything happened the way it did, so that I could be surrounded like I am today by Jen, by you, by a lot of amazing women in my life and at my work, everywhere. You know, but it's not always like that. For a year, you saw me
Oh
live
yeah.
in sobriety, like
Yep.
Marty says.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't have any except for my online community. That's why I know it's so important, because I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And I appreciate you sharing that. And what have you found, Jen? You know, you're a woman in recovery. What have you found to be some of the barriers that have maybe stopped or maybe kept you longer, you know, in the addiction lifestyle?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you just said it, Elsie, in terms of, you know, there's this expectation which is completely juxtapositional, right? Like there's an expectation of women to be strong and fierce, but yet there's this kind of social boohoo of, you know, that person is a bitch, or, you know, difficult to work with.
Yeah.
You know, they're just not falling in the line. And so there's really these unreasonable kind of expectations that women are given, these just such chaotic messages
Yes.
in regards to what they're supposed to be doing. As far as it goes regarding me staying in the middle of my addiction, I just didn't have any answers. What I love about AA is that whenever you come in and you set all the way down, the answers are right there. You know, right there in front of you. In the books that they tell you, that, you know, that big book, Alcoholics Anonymous, saved my life. Literally.
That's
And It's only because of the principles and the rules and the strong suggestions that are in that book is the reason why my life is just completely polar opposite compared to almost 4 years ago. I'll have 4 years of recovery in August.
Beautiful.
There's, I certainly was not, that wasn't what I intended whenever I first walked into AA. But, and I certainly, I feel as though that I am not going to be able to give back to AA what AA's given me. And and that's what I want to try to do. I was told very, very early on in the program, and for some reason, like my hearing turned on, I actually heard it. And there was a gentleman in the room that continues today to be my mentor. I call him Yoda, actually. He told me early on, he looked at me and said, God is about to restore you to your purpose. Why God put you here on this earth? You are about to be restored. He's not going to renovate you. Okay. He's not going to renovate you. He's not going to change you in any way, because he made you exactly the way how he wants you to be on this earth. And now you are going to begin to find out the reason what that purpose is. And so with that, I mean, I have been just having this fire hose effect on me and my soul.
Beautiful.
It was just like this big, huge blinding light that ended up turning on. It took about 7-8 months, actually, whenever I finally just completely surrendered and said, I'm a grateful alcoholic. I am supposed to be here. There are no coincidences.
Nope.
God made me how I'm supposed to be, and this is the purpose for me to be on, last minute on a live broadcast talking to God knows how many people, and whoever's going to hear me. And I have asked God specifically to give me the ability and the words in order to touch somebody out there that may be struggling tonight with this, questioning, what is it that I need to be doing in order to help my life? I want to help people make their lives better.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I'm grateful because that's 3 people combined right here with the same exact, the same exact soul feeling, that same longing to just give people. And we're 3 different people represented in one place. And that is 3 separate types of people that we can reach out into the world. And every one of our people feel like they're alone, and they feel like, maybe they're not good enough, and they feel like maybe they can't reach what it is that they see in others. But, as we all 3 sit here, we know if we can do it, you can do it. Because we all know how where we were standing on the ledge of life and death and saying, something's got to give. As I think about those 7 years ago, what came to me was, there's no reason for me to be here. There's no reason for me to be here. So I need to know what it is. And I'm ready at this point to find it, come what may. And, I was a person that started from no belief. I had a deep belief in nothing. I had no source of gratitude. I could not be grateful. I was addicted to the suffering, as we talked about before. I was addicted to the suffering. I did not know much about anything else. I came from that trauma background. It started very early. I thought that I was God's little joke, and that's how I went through my life. And, that's a very hopeless place to be. So when people don't have hope, they don't really have that clarity about, what am I doing here? And what the gift of recovery has brought me, it's not an easy process by any means. It has brought me the clarity to believe in that I'm here for something, and for such a time as this right now. this time, and because people want to beat themselves up for all the times that didn't work, but that wasn't your time.
Yeah.
That wasn't your time, and this is. And we are in this beautiful movement where we all have the freedom to share the tools that we use. And we all have a freedom to build our tool bag from so many different things.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of things are coming online that aren't as unreachable. I think that people's perception of the different modalities that are out there that individuals can absolutely utilize in order to, allow themselves to be just more solid humans. And the modalities are such that, before they were kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say hoo-hoo or anything, but, but just maybe simply because they weren't understood, they were unreachable, right?
Yeah.
And so now, we have people like Lady Gaga that's talking about transcendental meditation and how helpful it is to her. She's talking about the absolute difference that she is feeling in regards to better nutrition, better choices with that, and what she's been doing with that. Not only, reflexology and acupuncture and Chinese medicine, there's all these different types of modalities that people can tap into to help them. And by the way, all those things that I mentioned, it's not just AA, it's all these other different modalities that I had to grab onto, and they weren't necessarily things that I knew anything about.
Right.
It's similar to what Bradley just did to me 24 hours ago and said, hey, let's do this. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess that's what we're doing. So, and it's like, what can it hurt?
Right.
I only have $11 in the bank, and I don't have a car, and I don't have a house, so I might as well go and do some hot yoga. I guess that'll help me. Maybe we can sweat it out, maybe. So I don't know. It's just taking a chance. It's the willingness. It's the willingness to do things differently that maybe possibly perhaps can kind of, jumpstart this life that you're going to end up thriving in, instead of just living, going through day to day, just kind of going through the motions. It's like you're going to be excited to wake up in the morning and be like, God, what are we going to do today? And that's what I love that. That's what I actually do every day now. Like I built a life that I'm excited to wake up about because of AA and resources that have opened up because of that particular program.
Yes.
Ooh, y'all get me excited.
It's good. It's really good, because gone are the days of that head down, drab looking guy just drudging into the AA room and just plopping down. Gone are those days, because that is, as each generation moves forward. We're on right now, we're experiencing the global mind into the internet, but it's time through our recovery community to experience the global heart of God and what that means to each of us. And that's us. That's the recovery community. And I try to get people every day to understand, doesn't matter where you are on earth, you're a part of this.
That's right.
I need you. I don't care if you're in Podunk, Alabama, where I'm from. Stand up and be counted. We need you. There are people all over this earth that are out there struggling, and they just need to see people with smiles on their face, laughing, joke. I had somebody ask me one time, and it hit me hard. They said, why is everybody in recovery so down and out? And I was like, yeah, I remember that. I remember thinking that myself, but we're not here anymore. And I'm grateful for that. And so, and that's why I love, Bradley puts these videos out that are fun and funny. And oh my gosh, Jennifer Whelan, did I get too loud in there? Jennifer said, say it loud, a little loud.
For the ones in the back.
Yeah, for the ones way back in Podunk, Louisiana. I left you guys out. Mississippi. Come on. We gotta get it, you know, we gotta get it. And it's through us and things like this that people see laughter and they see people having fun. Because I used to think that in order to be clean and sober, like I just did a podcast interview. I can't wait for you to hear it, Bradley. You are going to love these ladies. They are the funniest, most awesome ladies in the world. The Sober Experiment. But I used to feel sorry for people in recovery, sobriety, because it wasn't called recovery then. It was sobriety. I thought, oh, you know, you live a life of just, because that's how they looked. And man, I'm so grateful for life today. I wake up just like you, Jen, pop up out of bed, hit the floor, and I say, God, how can I make a difference in the world today?
Absolutely. You know, I think that the description that you were talking about, the individuals that, you know, they're living their life as the hole in the donut, as it were, right? And, you know, I think that it's, you know, we have to take into consideration, I think there's this phrase in the book, right? Like, oh, what is it? It just left me. It's the, not conviction before, but what was it? Anyway, I draw a blank. But anyway, it's, you know, people have an idea of what recovery and what sobriety is. They have that idea of just what you said, Elsie. The, you know, the head down and, you know, no smile. They just look like they are just miserable individuals, and they probably are.
Yeah,
they probably are. And people think that that is the program or that is recovery. And what is good to and here's the thing. I thought that before I came in. I mean, I was shown a couple of examples in my family. And then after, you know, growing up and getting out in the world and finding out, sometimes, you know, that information would slip and you see this person. And I have to say, I mean, and I don't know if it's just, I mean, I feel as though that I'm really lucky, because I did ask, you know, I just, before coming into the rooms, you know, I was like riding my bike around White Rock Lake. I was having just a breakdown, right? And I'm screaming at God, my grandmother, you know, people that have gone through my life, or just the universe. I don't know, whoever the hell was listening to me. And I was just saying, you know, I need some help, you know, and I didn't know what that meant. And so, you know, of course, everybody said, okay, we're going to give you some help. Boom. We're going to stick you right into this room here. And we're going to let you soak up some, hopefully some self-love, some self-respect, some courage, some, you know, you're going to listen to some people that have actually been there and done that regarding you. You know, it gave me hope. And so for the individuals, and I mean, look, I've seen the people that come through the room that are in that state of loneliness and self-deprecation. Still, they're still in the mess. They're still in the mess. And, you know, we pray for them. You know, we pray for them. We try to help, you know, and here's the thing, you know, Elsie, the three of us sitting in this room is the statistic. You know, it is a fact that, you know, basically 2 out of 10 people that come into the room will make it. You know, 80% of people that's coming into AA, they're not going to be there, you know, within that year, within 3 months. I am the lucky one, you know. So the individuals that, you know, hopefully that the major public are seeing that are miserable and they might have the information that they are sober, you know, God, please help them. Please.
That's good. That's really beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, it's a journey in healing. You know, I knew coming into this thing that if I just attempted to stay clean and sober and I didn't get down deep into the root causes of what kept me out there and what kept me trying to numb, that it was only going to be a matter of time before, you know, I gave in, gave up. And this might have been my last chance. That 9-month relapse
absolutely
could have been my last chance. And, I had been clean and sober for a while, but I had not been in recovery. And I had built new different relationships, with family that I had not in a long time. And I didn't want to lose those things. And those things became too much for me to lose. And I know that it was just the blessing that it was my time, because many times when we have that slip back, we'll let the shame of guilt keep us down, in going all the way to the bottom of the mountain. It's like we trip and we think we have to roll all the way back down before we can, get back up. And one of the most amazing things that I learned in those early days of recovery is, because I slip doesn't mean I have to fall all the way back. I can get up where I am. And
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
yeah.
And the slip is what I found pretty interesting, just being a new individual in recovery and in AA. Part of my story is that, I did all my slipping and falling before I came into the room. I've had some dear friends that I've known in the room that has happened, and some of them have not come back in. But the ones who do come back in, thank God, they, I ask, what took you so long to come back? And the one thing that they always say is, I was so ashamed. I felt as though that people were going to be judging me.
Yep.
And I felt so shameful, and I felt as though that I could not come back.
Yep.
And if there's any way that we can figure out how to have that not happen with individuals,
Yep.
with this disease, it's a disease. It is not, this is, we're not dealing with something that is simply a matter of, I was going to say choice, and Bradley just said that to me. I mean, there are very, very extreme circumstances that go on regarding alcoholics and addicts, and what goes on physiologically with all of that. And if there's anyone out there that might just be tapped in and watching, and you're struggling with this, and maybe today even, if something happened, please, please, please do not think that you are not welcome in the rooms. We are here for one thing, and that is to make sure that you understand that we are here holding each other's hand, pulling everybody along, doing this journey together. It's not about self-sufficiency.
I love that.
That's not the deal.
That's right.
It's about togetherness. It's about everybody helping each other and contributing to everybody else's journey and their passion and their health. I mean, that's the bottom line here.
It is. It's what we were talking about, Bradley, that I was thinking about this morning. Everything in nature grows towards the light. Everything grows in the light. And when you stay in the dark, that's when the poison grows. That's when the poison gets worse. That's when the infection grows deeper. And, talk to us a little bit, Bradley, about, I had a great question for you. Our watch party kind of stopped, so I'm doing another one on my regular page. But Bradley, I want to really hear about that time that you were struggling in that year, that first year that we knew you, and the way that you boldly came back in and just said, here I am, and this is me, and I need you guys.
Yeah, that stunk. That really, really stunk. And I had to make a decision. I mean, I had relapsed, and it went on for, 7 to 10 days. And I had to make a choice. Was I going to keep running? Was this really, that was a good alternative, because that was so much shame that I was dealing with. Oh my gosh. My family was so proud. I was, free again, all this, and how could I mess it up? And just,
All
So
those
I
things.
decided if I was going to tell the truth, I wasn't just going to tell the truth to a sponsor or a person. I just got on Facebook and said,
Beautiful. I
I
love
and cried and told everybody the whole deal and said that I'm starting over and I need you guys. And
it.
I was not, I was really, the reason I did that is because I had already started making those funny videos and things and about recovery. I didn't want to be living a lie. So I knew I had to say it out loud to everyone. And doing that, I learned that our community is pretty amazing.
That's right.
I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages in support of just keep going, get back up, keep doing it. Not at all what I expected. I thought people were going to say, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. So that truly was a blessing for me. And it really inspired me to keep going, you know, and really do the next right thing and the next right thing. And things got better and things got easier. But that was a really tough time. But I don't think that that's always the case. People, you know, there is a lot of, you know, I hate to bring this negative thing into our talk, but you know, in the recovery community, we get a lot of judgment, a lot of it seems like everyone seems to be a little sidetracked of what we're really about. They want, and it's easy to do. I'm even guilty of it, so I'm not saying shame on anybody. I'm saying that if we could just somehow figure out how to work together. I loved what you and I kind of talked about this the other night, and I loved what you said about if we were in a battle, we wouldn't say to the person fighting next to us, oh, I can't fight with you because you're black, white, gay, straight, whatever it is, anything that falls into any category. No, you fight the battle together, and that battle for us here is recovery.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. I do.
And so if we could just figure out how to line up together instead of doing this all the time. And so, you know, that I set some pretty high standards for the recovery crawl and my admin team and stuff like that, because I see it happening all around me all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a big peacemaker.
Yes.
And I think you know, that's sometimes can be looked at as a weakness, but in almost all cases in my life, it has turned out because I'm giving it to God when I do that. And so I try really hard not to feed into all of that negativity. And so that's one really big message I want to put out there, Lona. And you are the perfect one to do it with because you're up every morning doing the thing.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I love it.
Well, I thank you, Bradley, and I'm really honored that you wanted to come here with me because, you know, as you know, there are, you know, I believe that how much stronger would we be if we were all unified? You know, there would be no gaps in our arms together, and we could let no addict go by. You know, there's so many people like me in the world, and I hid myself for entirely too long for the comfort of others around me, that I didn't realize that I was literally killing myself. And I had been beaten down so much in life by people's opinions and all the things that they, you know, they would hold the book in this hand and beat in this hand. And when you do that to people, and there's a whole community of people that have been done that way, when you do people like that, they're the ones that are slipping through. And those are the ones we're hurting the worst. And you, as you know, I started making videos and was well into my recovery and was really talking to people about root causes. Heal your roots. Heal your roots. Get your and as I had worked through those processes and healed my sexual trauma, my child abuse, my, you know, the rape that occurred in my life in my 20s, and all of that stuff, I got to this place, you know, coming up on 2 years ago, where this was something I could not turn my back on anymore. And because I refused to be a hypocrite and wasn't going to just disappear, and I had people in a recovery community tell me to just go ahead and disappear and then come back as a new person, and that could not sit with me. And so for a little while, I kept making videos. In the beginning of my transition, because this is my liberating. This is my getting close to me, and it's for a purpose. It's not against anything. It is for that very purpose, because there's too many people like me that believe that there is nobody for them, that nobody's speaking for them, that they're wrong, and they will stay out in those communities and die because they don't feel worth life. That is the biggest abomination I can even imagine, is to let one soul go by feeling unloved, unhoped for, unwilling, there's no help for you unless you look like us and you make us comfortable. That's not okay. That's the epitome of hypocrite. So I could not do that. I could not stand in front of people and give a message of recovery that I love so much, and yet continue to hold this secret and to try to stay in recovery without feeling it.
Absolutely.
So that is the biggest joy of my life, is to be able to open up and wake up every day and be able to be in front of people as honest as I can be. And I've taken, I've taken some hate in the community, but my whole focus on that is, if my presence brings up something inside of someone else that makes them uncomfortable, and they're tempted to lash out at me, they must understand that that's in them. That is, I may be a beacon of light for something that God wants to fix in you, not for you to fix me. He never told you to fix me. So you. And so if we were able to, we lash out at things we don't understand. We're afraid of things we don't understand.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think people like myself and so many others in the LGBTQ community, I guess it's an LGBTQ plus, because we got so many down letters in the alphabet, I mean, and, so I think that the more we move through this recovery community, we show everybody, because we are the people that can't judge a soul on this earth. Look at the stuff we have done when our addiction was a must. There are things that some of us got that we've done that we wouldn't want another soul on earth to know. How in the world can we jump in recovery and then jump up and say, it's the best life ever, but it ain't for you? Not like that. So, we got to get over ourselves. And I just love those people. I love the people that throw hate, because they give me a pinpointed person to pray for. They give me a person to really hone in on and really pray and send energy of love and light and healing to that person, because I don't know what's happened in their life. I don't know what experience they've had.
Right.
But they will have to work in that hate, not me.
But the thing is, maybe they just don't understand, but who cares? If they don't, you don't have to understand everything,
We don't.
That's the thing, is I don't understand where it helps to dive in, but I get what you're saying. Yes, probably something going on. So that's the way that they're dealing with, not having to deal with themselves. But, I don't think that if we are, because as leaders in the community now, we can choose not to be that way, and we can start something new. I want to start something new, Lona.
Me too. Yeah.
Like this, I want to be spirit warriors.
Yeah. Ooh,
Let's just fight for this thing together and stop going against each other, because I just won't do it anymore. And I've been around enough now. In the beginning, I would find myself in the middle of messes going, ooh,
yeah,
how'd I get here?
Yeah.
But I don't. I just refuse that. And it's probably a lot of spiritual growth and a lot of just, more time under my belt. So 10 years from now, you better watch out.
Man, I'm gonna tell you where you're gonna be 10 years from now, Bradley. We're gonna have a conversation that says, you remember when we started this
Yeah.
on this night,
Oh,
on this
I,
day.
I know. I need to like stay in her admin team or something. I don't know. She's gonna be up there somewhere in the stars.
I don't know about that, but it's going to be badass. Whatever we're doing is going to be pretty badass.
Imagine, just take in consideration the energy that if we're not focusing on the individuals who purposefully, they make the choice of staying in a place where they are comfortable,
Mhm.
which it it translates into them thinking that certain people around them are less than,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And for those of us who knows that there's no such thing. There's no such thing as less than this. There's no such thing as fear.
No.
There's no such thing as truly self-hatred, right?
Yep.
Like that is that inner dialogue of what was heard and how we were programmed very early on and by others around us who are
Yes.
in that microcosm of self-loathingness, right?
Yep.
They want to stay in that space. I know for me, growing up at, early on, it seemed as though that I had an affinity for women. And let me tell you, I'm here to tell any doctor out there who wants to talk about how, gay is, that's a choice. It's a choice whether you're gay. It's a choice whether you're straight. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. Whenever I was born, I made a point of getting the phone number of the nurse that birthed me because she was one of the hottest young ladies that I had ever seen in my 2-hour period on this planet. Okay. So look, from day one, I had this thing that was very much demonized.
Oh yeah.
I was told that I was an abomination and that God hated me and that I should just be thrown in a pit with the blacks and the Jews and the Polish and every other whatever,
Yep.
and should die. And you know who said that? That was my father. That was my father, that I would hear him talk about me.
Yep.
And so very early on, this self-loathing, this self-hate, and that was the reason why, Elsie, that I tried to, I didn't want to be here.
Yep. I feel you.
Several times I
feel you.
tried to not be here. And I'll be damned if God said, no.
That's right.
We got something going on here.
Yep.
And for some reason, I'm still here, still
I
to
got
this day.
something for you. Yep.
And the middle of it, I'm doing nothing but that self-loathing, that instillment, and that conditioning of that I was supposed to self-loathe myself. That was the reason why I tried to drink myself to death.
There was
what you're talking about, those things that, we just don't want to look at. We don't have the ability to look at, I'm here to tell you guys, there isn't anything out there that there isn't somebody in this particular community, black, white, gay, straight, whatever, in this community, this sober recovery community, that we have not gone through and that we've gotten to the other side of it and we take a deep breath.
That's it.
We've gotten through it.
That's
right.
it. That's it. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, I honestly, I had a talk with my mom, one day, and you understand, like different generations and things. And so I was having this talk with my mom one day and I just said, well, when did you get the form? When did you get the choice form? Because I didn't get the form and I would have, surely I would have chosen to just be like everyone else.
Yeah, right.
And I
you
said,
think that I chose to do this? This is hard.
Right. And I try to, I do a whole lot of transgender and LGBT like sensitivity trainings and different, different centers and stuff. And that's a word that people use all the time. Well, this is their choice. And I have to say to them, let's stop using that language, because the choice comes in that I gotta be, like my choice is to stop choosing to try to force myself into your box.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To please
That-
people. Yeah,
so
to please others, to make them
this
come.
is surrender. This is surrender to myself. And I can tell you, from a person who did not look in mirrors, I'll always remember Tim Capps did a live one time, and he talked about not being able to look into mirrors during his addiction. And that I started thinking about that. And I remembered I never looked in mirrors. I would not catch my reflection if I was walking into the store, because that's how much I hated me.
Wow.
And I tell you, I jump up out of my bed every morning. I'm coming up this month on 2 years into my gender transition, and I run to the mirror every morning and I say, "Good morning. I love you. This is who we are." And for all of the beating down that has been done to me in my life and that I've done to myself, let me tell you, it's worth whatever else I have to do. And I wrote this in a post one time, and I mean it. Every time somebody sees an out LGBTQ person out into the community, draw strength from that, because that's a person who's been through hell to
Ultimate.
to who they truly are. Draw admiration from that, because they're going against a world that says they don't belong. That's how strong the pull to be who you are, who you were made to be, is. That we have to be beat up, raped, we have to be, thrown away. I mean, when I experienced my rape, I could not even go to the cops in my town, because it was, you shouldn't have been there. You shouldn't be like this. You brought it on yourself. Now, people think that doesn't produce that produces great trauma, self-loathing. That produces a lot in somebody. So for me to be sitting here 7 years in recovery, living a life that is happy to me and wonderful to me and that I love, and I have an amazing family that surrounds me with their love. And are they to the point, I feel so sorry for my poor mom sometimes. She's so sweet and precious, and she tries her very best, but I've been female to her longer than I've been female to me. You know what I mean? And so she's upset with herself sometimes when she uses the wrong pronouns. And I say, I'm not here to beat you up. I'm here to extend the same love to you that you extend to me. It's okay. It doesn't bother me. The fact that you're trying is better than some people in the world get. And
Absolutely.
that's beautiful. You're 63 years old. Give yourself a break. I love you for loving me. And I remember the conversation with her, trying to have this conversation with her of, oh, and by the way, I'm going to now do this. I thought that I was going to hyperventilate having that conversation with her. And for her to, kind of look at me and say, well, what took you so long? Was that beautiful moment of acceptance that you go through your entire life looking for, and yet it's been there all along. So there's so much fear that surrounds people. We can eradicate that. Right here tonight, what we're doing, we can eradicate that to people and say, don't hide that beautiful you. Those days are over. Don't hide that beautiful you. Your tribe. And we in the recovery community, we owe it to everybody to be that accepting tribe. That's why we're here for such a time as this. I say it too much. I say it probably all the time. It's just so true. You'd have told one of us that 20 years ago we would be here sharing a message about recovery, and
really, right?
You were lying through your teeth.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, what you just said, Elsie, I have to say, what an incredible journey of truth and courage and love. I mean, I think that, I think the ultimate showing of, self-love is not denying, what God has made, right? And simply, I think we've said this before, right? Simply because there's not necessarily an understanding of the way in which how God created, his image, simply because there's not an understanding of that right now, does not mean that it's not legitimate or genuine, or should not be validated.
Well said.
Right?
Very, very, very well said.
Look, there was a time of which, not very long ago, that the gay and lesbian, community were very much rejected and demonized because nobody understood, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that, nothing in God's world is a mistake.
Right.
It is God's timing. And considering, the place where we're at today, right? We're in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of things are unplugged.
Yep.
We're having to be put in place.
Yep.
The line of communication and the way in which how we're communicating. I think this, is really going to open up, the channel of communication of, can we possibly start having a little bit more dialogue to help with that ultimate understanding?
Yes.
And why in which, that there may be some other caveats that we can explore in order to help with understanding, right?
Yeah,
like I'm one of the cool kids now. Like, it wasn't cool to be gay back in the 90s.
Right. I know, right?
And like everything was like in place and whatever. Like now, people find out I'm gay and they're like, well, how long has that been going on? And that was cool before it was even accepted. So
it's a beautiful time, and I'm really grateful to be a part of it. I used to be very angry about all the things I had experienced, but you know what? I'm to the place now in my healing that I can say that I'm glad it happened. Not that I would necessarily want to go through all of it again, but that it has made me who I am. And a lot of people in the trans community, they wait so long. I'm 46 years old, and we wait so long because we have to get that tired of giving a shit. We got to get all those years where we just get tired of giving a shit. And I'm grateful now that that we've opened things up to where the younger generation don't have to suffer the way that we did so long. And that's beautiful. And it's the same with the addiction and recovery community. Drugs and alcohol and getting, I was a musician in my younger days, and we told lies like, well, drugs broaden your, open your mind and help you write better. I mean, I've looked at some of the things I've come off with that, and I was thinking that sounded really good at the time, but ridiculous. But I jumped into that trap because our media said it. We glorify addicts and alcoholics. I mean, I desperately wanted to be part of the 27 Club. Now, most addicts that love music know what the 27 Club is.
Yes, right.
I was convinced that would be who I was, and I was just ready to go at that point. Didn't want to suffer. But now we're creating an environment where we are telling this next generation that this is the epidemic. This is where you're going to find that open life, and for everything to be happening at once. We talk about the health and wellness industry is blowing up. We're talking about healthy eating is now cool. We talk about all of these things for the community, and our acceptance and unity community is following along with what's being done by the divine in the earth. I mean, this is a beautiful time to be alive, and this epidemic is so, I do hate that lives have to be lost, but it is an opportunity for us to really get back in touch with who we are, how to connect, how to to allow our minds not to be focused on the fear of everything. And, that is what makes this time beautiful to me. I'm not upset. I'm not, like I'm not tripping out. I went through the fear, and then I just thought, man, what a great opportunity to jump into sharing more in my community, to connect with people on a different level, because we weren't all connecting this way many times before. And now we've really dove into Zoom meetings and all of that stuff. And, we're connecting.
Yes.
Beautiful. And we're doing it together. And I think the more of these that we do, the more people catch on and begin to just open their own hearts and their own minds. I mean, the playing field's even right now. Your money don't matter. Your status don't matter.
Right.
Because like we said, if I got the cure and you're sitting over here coughing and hacking, you're not going to say, oh no, you can't give it to me. Find someone else. It's not going to happen. The playing fields are even.
Yeah.
Beautiful time for us to take advantage of this and really grow. Grow. Just grow through it and not go through it, right?
Right.
Let's do it.
Lona, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Wait.
7.
7.
Yeah.
7 years.
Computers. 7 days.
I made everybody howl like a dog with me for Joseph Desposito the other night. Bonnie and John Beckwith, I made them howl like dogs with me to celebrate. So that's what I was doing for you.
I love it. You could make people howl with you though, because you say howl and we all just do it. Well, it's gotta be cool. Bradley,
What is that? What's that about her? She's just like, hey, let's go do what? You're like, well, okay. I guess we're gonna.
she's got that magnetism. She just
Oh, no, man.
I'll take care of you. Let's go. I love you, Bradley.
I love you too.
And I've had an amazing time tonight. I cannot think of a better celebration or time to do this. You guys, ladies, have made me just happy.
This is fantastic.
I'm so glad to hear that. I am so glad we got to do this live together on your 7 year. That just makes me so happy.
It's monumental right there.
And I'm not done with this conversation. I think it can go so many directions. I want to do this more.
It needs to. It's the soul that matters, right? It's the soul that matters Saturday. And
Right.
Oh, I like that.
we should do
Yeah, I
this.
like that.
And I really want to throw that out to our fellow recovery community that's in the house tonight. Man, let's not be afraid. We are the leaders here. We're leading our community. If they see us afraid to step out of the box, if they see us afraid to talk about things, it's going to make them more afraid to talk about things as well. So, I put out a blanket challenge to everyone, let's just talk. Let's talk
Yes.
about all of these issues, things that, are relevant in the world today. Because, we don't get to be leaders and not have responsibilities. And, it's what we signed up for this. None of us thought it was going to go this way. I know, but, it has. And I'm grateful to be a part of it. I've got some of the most beautiful people. I mean, our community is beautiful, amazing people in this community.
Yes. We can just all line up together and just walk together and doing this thing. We're going to be just fine.
Gosh.
Amazing. Amazing things for 2020, even with all this stuff going on, actually bringing us closer together in a lot of ways. So
Yes. It's divine purpose. It's divine purpose. All right, ladies. Well, I love you. Hey, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you for being here to celebrate with me on this 7 years. Thanks for everybody's love, light, support. Bradley, Jen, I love you girls. We'll do this again. Everybody share the message out, share it out and let's let it grow. Let's let it grow. And till everybody on earth knows they're accepted. I love you guys.
that's right. Ooh, I like it. Yeah.
I love y'all. Everybody,
Love you.
have a wonderful, wonderful night. Tammy P in the house. I love you, Tammy.
Oh, Tammy, I love her.
Love some Tammy.
Yes.
We love you guys. Bye,
Night, guys.
everybody.
Mwah.
Mwah.